Country superstar Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future.
Carrie Underwood has always been the golden girl of country music, America's sweetheart with a voice that could move mountains. But behind the glittering image of success lies a whirlwind of controversy that's left Hollywood and fans alike divided.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing America the Beautiful, please welcome the Armed Forces Chorus and Carrie Underwood.
Recent headlines have thrust her into the center of a political and cultural storm, forcing other big-name celebrities to speak out about the star they once saw as untouchable. Did her inauguration performance reveal her true colors, or is it all just a misunderstanding? The drama is unfolding, and those closest to her aren't holding back. The announcement that set off a storm. Carrie Underwood had always been praised for a polished, feel-good persona that rarely got tangled in messy topics. She soared to fame as a cheerful country idol with a sweet smile and a huge vocal range, and many fans believed she would never step into tense debates or risky decision-making. Yet the public was swept off its feet when it became clear that she had performed at the inauguration of a leader who stirred fiery reactions across the nation. In entertainment circles, it was initially discussed with hushed tones, like a secret only a handful of insiders knew. But once the news surfaced, it turned into a larger-than-life story raging across social media. People began asking why Carrie Underwood, the same artist who often sang about hope and everyday struggles, would appear on stage to honor a leader that some adored but others viewed as highly problematic. The buzz started quietly on certain fan boards, where devoted listeners wondered about her political stance. However, day after day, claims emerged that she had not only been approached, but had actually agreed to and gone through with the performance. A few more skeptical fans still felt it was untrue, claiming she'd never do such a thing, but their voices were soon drowned out by confirmations and chatter from various corners of the internet. Although Carrie Underwood's team never gave a big press release to defend her choice of venue, online commenters decided it was too significant to be overlooked. Many dug through her past interviews and social media postings, searching for hints that she might align with this political figure's worldview.
The internet found out Carrie Underwood would be singing at Trump's inauguration, and it's causing quite a roar of online backlash. She's spoken out. We have the story. After it hit the net that Carrie would be performing America the Beautiful as Trump becomes president again, the most popular response was internet trolls saying now they know why he cheated.
Still, those who knew her best would say she was simply a performer who wanted to share her music, not get in the midst of national arguments. But clearly, things had changed. This particular leader's well-known reputation made the news of Carrie Underwood's appearance a hot topic. Critics noted that this was no ordinary government figure. It was someone widely regarded as divisive due to abrasive speeches, intense public disputes, and confrontations on a national stage. Her decision to sing for this individual instantly took on deep meaning in many fans' eyes. Some felt there had to be a hidden reason, like bridging divides, while others called it a blatant endorsement. Why the buzz grew so huge? Carrie Underwood's actual presence at such a high-stakes political moment generated waves of chatter. For one, she'd previously been noted for steering clear of controversial affiliations. Whenever interviews drifted toward big political or social issues, she generally maintained a neutral stance and refocused on her music. Fans respected her for this approach, seeing her as something of a unifier in an industry that can easily fracture over personal beliefs or regional loyalties. That's why it shocked so many people to see her standing on stage for a leader known for brash words and actions that alienated or upset large segments of the population. The very fact that she sang at the inauguration, critics argued, suggested that she was willingly tying her brand to that figure's message.
Carrie Underwood is set to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration, telling ET in a statement, "I love our country and am honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration and to be a small part of this historic event."
The immediate questions came pouring in. Did Carrie Underwood quietly share such political leanings all along? Was she pushed by her record label or behind-the-scenes industry leaders to perform? Or had she simply decided that this was a paying gig, no more and no less? Backstage in the music world, the talk was equally intense. Some artists and producers seemed almost in disbelief that Carrie Underwood, an icon admired for her approachable personality, would dive into such a tempest. Others pointed out that maybe she saw this as an opportunity to bring people together through song, especially during a time of bitter national division. Inevitably, the discussion about her performance snowballed as music critics and political analysts weighed in, each adding their own spin. Some wondered if this event could mark a turning point in her otherwise conflict-free career. Meanwhile, social media frothed with heated opinions. Some fans argued that she should have emulated other major stars who refused to take part in the same inauguration, claiming they refused to offer a spotlight to someone they considered problematic. Others insisted that inaugurations are an important tradition of democracy, whether or not you support the individual in office. Still others tried to remain neutral, suggesting that Carrie Underwood, who often spoke to people's hearts through music, might have hoped her songs would reduce tensions in a divided country. The entire situation wouldn't have soared to such epic heights without mainstream media's involvement. Eventually, a well-known daytime talk show, The View, took up the topic. With their large audience and reputation for strong, varied opinions, it was inevitable that Carrie Underwood's performance would get everyone talking. The View takes the story under its wing. One morning, The View's roundtable of co-hosts brought up Carrie Underwood's inauguration appearance as a hot item on their agenda. The panel included Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Bahar, Alyssa Farah Griffin, Sunny Hostin, and possibly an additional guest. Each weighed in on how this typically controversy-averse country star had ended up at the heart of a heated national debate. They began by acknowledging that Carrie Underwood normally sidestepped conflict, raising the question, why on earth would she choose a gig that placed her in the direct line of political fire? Some hosts speculated that she considered it her patriotic duty to sing for the country, regardless of the politics.
Country singer Carrie Underwood's performance did not go exactly as planned Monday. A technical glitch took out her background track, and the silence was deafening.
Others ventured that this performance might connect her to fans who adore the leader in question, thus broadening her already significant appeal. Once they took up the matter of whether it was acceptable for a big-name performer to entertain a leader so widely known to polarize citizens, the table was set for a vigorous debate. Every co-host brought personal perspectives shaped by politics, moral outlook, or life experiences. The diversity of those views mirrored the broader public's inability to reach consensus. They also touched on how Carrie Underwood's own fans had reacted online. By that point, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms were swarming with hashtags about her choice, some users demanding boycotts, others praising her fortitude. The View highlighted how a once universally loved singer could end up criticized, threatened, or applauded for a single performance. Joy Bahar's strong reaction. During that segment, Joy Bahar took a moment to share her own pointed opinion, generating immediate ripples on social media. Never shy about voicing bold perspectives, Joy pressed the idea that Carrie Underwood's performance was highly problematic. She saw it as providing unwarranted legitimacy to someone whose track record she considered dubious or even dangerous. Additionally, Joy explored the concept of normalizing behavior by attaching a prominent, beloved superstar's name and face to it. From where Joy stood, having a huge celebrity appear on stage could distract the public from looking closely at this leader's controversies. She believed that, no matter the justification, Carrie Underwood's act might be read as an endorsement among casual onlookers. In typical Joy style, she kept the conversation peppered with wit, but stood firm in her stance. She mentioned, paraphrased here, that she wouldn't want to grant a performance to a person who, in her view, upended the nation's balance. This direct line of reasoning resonated with a portion of viewers who also found the leader irredeemable. They flooded social media, praising Joy for telling it like it is. On the other hand, some watchers labeled her stance dramatic, arguing that a singer should be able to appear at an official ceremony without being branded as a co-signer of every policy. They felt Joy had allowed her personal dislike of the politician to overshadow the possibility that Carrie Underwood was simply honoring America's traditions. Still, whether you agreed with Joy or not, her take fueled ongoing debates in countless comment threads and articles. Whoopi Goldberg's more relaxed attitude. As Joy stirred the pot, Whoopi Goldberg approached Carrie Underwood's decision more calmly. Although she didn't personally share the new leader's political views, Whoopi defended the principle that artists have the freedom to choose their shows. If Carrie Underwood believed that this performance was about celebrating the peaceful transfer of power, Whoopi didn't see a reason to shame her outright. Whoopi also reminded everyone that a single performance is rarely the sum total of a singer's career. Carrie Underwood's appearance at the inauguration, Whoopi reasoned, might not necessarily signify that she agreed with every stance of the administration. It could be as straightforward as doing a job at a notable event, a moment that was part of the nation's tradition. Still, Whoopi cautioned about the potential fallout. She recognized that the public's judgment can be swift and brutal, and some fans might see the inauguration appearance as siding with a divisive figure. Nonetheless, if Carrie Underwood felt comfortable with her reasoning, Whoopi believed she shouldn't be publicly crucified for it. Some viewers found her viewpoint refreshingly balanced, while others thought she was overlooking the moral implications. They argued that the stage is never truly neutral when it places you next to someone seen as harmful.
And country music star Carrie Underwood expected to perform at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration next Monday. According to a copy of the program, Underwood will perform America the Beautiful.
In essence, Whoopi's perspective underlined the notion that each artist owns their decisions. Carrie Underwood, in her eyes, wasn't necessarily pro-leaders' policies just by singing. Yet critics online questioned whether ignoring the bigger context allows controversial figures to gain public acceptance too easily. That tension became a core theme as watchers continued chatting long after the View's episode ended. Alyssa Farah Griffin's strategic view. Alyssa Farah Griffin, noted on The View for her right-leaning stance and communications background, offered another angle altogether. She highlighted the fact that this leader, despite being polarizing, did receive millions of votes in the election. By performing, Alyssa posited, Carrie Underwood may have tapped into a wide audience who still feel a strong bond with that politician, an audience that tends to appreciate country music. In a purely strategic sense, this could broaden Carrie Underwood's fan base, forging a tighter connection with listeners likely to attend her concerts or buy her albums. Alyssa also observed that, morally debatable as the leader might be, a large slice of the country placed their faith in him, so he wasn't going away anytime soon. Jilting the inauguration wouldn't eliminate the leader's support. Thus, from a practical point of view, jumping on board might serve as an outreach to those fans. This pragmatic take made some watchers nod, remembering that show business often merges with numbers, ticket sales, and brand growth. Still, plenty of viewers balked at reducing Carrie Underwood's possibly heartfelt show of patriotism to a pure business decision. They asserted that even if the event provided new opportunities, it raised serious ethical questions. Did Carrie Underwood, as a beloved star with a moral persona, truly want to be associated with a figure who had so many detractors? Alyssa answered that performing at a major national occasion wasn't necessarily a personal stamp of approval. It could be seen as a tradition many artists honor, no matter who is sworn in. Among fans, Alyssa's viewpoint caused further debate, particularly among those who appreciate the dollars and cents angle. In their mind, Carrie Underwood had done nothing more than appear at an iconic ceremony, and the rest was up to how the public interpreted it. Others felt that the intersection of business interests and political controversies is precisely why these performances are so contentious. Either way, Alyssa's segment gave watchers a fresh angle to contemplate. Sunny Hostin balances disapproval and courtesy. Sunny Hostin typically brings a measured, direct approach to discussions, and her input on Carrie Underwood's inauguration performance reflected that style. She questioned whether a singer can ever remain a neutral presence at such a ceremony, especially when the leader involved is accused of hurting national unity. In Sunny's view, stepping onto the stage for someone who had stirred widespread conflicts might be interpreted as ignoring or even accepting the those conflicts. Nevertheless, Sunny refrained from portraying Carrie Underwood as a scheming figure with ulterior motives. She acknowledged the singer's kind-hearted image and how Carrie Underwood loves to empower people through her songs. Maybe, Sunny suggested, Carrie genuinely believed she could lift spirits during a fractious time. But that still didn't erase the fact that many fans felt confused or betrayed, as they believed the star they admired was standing beside an administration they viewed with alarm. Some watchers called Sunny's analysis the most nuanced of the bunch. She neither demonized Carrie Underwood nor rubber-stamped her actions. Online, you could find comments praising Sunny for capturing the complicated feelings. Fans could still love Carrie's music, but question her choice to be part of such a polarized moment. Crucially, Sunny reiterated that artists have the liberty to say yes or no to invites, but once the show is done, the public likewise has the liberty to respond. In that sense, Carrie Underwood's previously conflict-free reputation might be reshaped. Fans used to seeing her as above politics now saw her stepping directly into political waters. Sunny concluded that even if it wasn't meant as an endorsement, many viewers would inevitably read it that way. How online scenes turned toxic. Although The View's hosts tried to tackle the topic from multiple angles, the fallout online was much more hostile. Within minutes of the episode airing, fans, haters, and casual onlookers alike rushed to blogs, social platforms, and news comment sections to unleash their takes on Carrie Underwood's performance. Some applauded her for reaching out, seeing her show as a patriotic nod to the democratic process. Others branded her a sellout, insisting she had betrayed any moral stances she once promoted. Those who agreed with Joy Bahar's no-nonsense opinion insisted that Carrie Underwood was effectively normalizing the leader's questionable actions. They argued that singing at a pivotal national ceremony was not just another gig, but one of the most watched events in the political sphere. Several individuals boasted about deleting her hits from their playlists or vowing never to attend her concerts again. Meanwhile, supporters aligned with Alyssa Farah Griffin's argument said Carrie Underwood had been right to pursue a major opportunity. They maintained that music could transcend political divides, and that this show was part of an established tradition going back decades, even centuries, for incoming administrations. They openly mocked those complaining, calling them oversensitive or blind to the realities of a multi-layered music industry. The digital response grew ugly at times, with name-calling and even threats hurled in comment threads. Some longtime fans posted heartbreak at feeling forced to choose between their love of her music and their personal convictions. Others warned that this fiasco showed how easily rumors and partial truths could ruin someone's otherwise shining image. A small cadre tried to calm the storm, reminding others that Carrie Underwood had every right to present her art, but their voices were often lost in the chaos. These cracks are not just fractures. They are clues to what the intense forces tearing at the planet's crust really are. Now, NASA scientists are closely watching as these new cracks along fault lines raise serious questions about the stability of the state. But what's really happening? Is the long-feared big one finally around the corner? Join us as we reveal the shocking details of NASA's latest discovery. NASA's shocking revelation. NASA has made an unexpected announcement that has sent shockwaves worldwide. The Earth beneath California is cracking open. This discovery isn't just another geological event, it's a wake-up call that has stunned scientists and raised urgent questions about what's happening beneath our feet. Scientists wonder if this could be the precursor to the long-feared big one, or if something even more mysterious is at play. This shocking revelation comes from NASA's advanced satellite monitoring systems, closely observing shifts in California's landscape. For years, scientists have known that the San Andreas Fault, a massive tectonic plate boundary stretching through the state, is one of the most dangerous seismic zones in the world, knowing it could one day unleash a catastrophic earthquake. But now, the data reveals something new: unusual fractures in the Earth's crust, unlike before. These fractures hint at hidden movements deep within the Earth, which could be building towards something far greater. You might want to keep watching to find out more, as it gets even more shocking from here. The news has left the scientific community both alarmed and fascinated. California sits on the edge of two massive tectonic plates, the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. These plates constantly move, grind against each other, and store immense energy over time. When that energy is released, it causes earthquakes, but these newly detected cracks suggest that the ground beneath California might reach a critical point. The implications of these findings are massive. Millions of lives could be at risk if these cracks are a precursor to a major earthquake. California is home to over 39 million people, and many cities sit directly on or near fault lines. A massive quake could devastate infrastructure, disrupt lives, and even change the state's landscape, but the effects wouldn't stop there. A quake this large could ripple across the globe, affecting economies, travel, and even climate. So what's happening beneath California? The answer lies miles below the surface, where the Earth's crust is under constant stress. As tectonic plates shift, they create faults and fractures in the rock where movement occurs. It is no news that the San Andreas Fault is the most famous, but hundreds of smaller, interconnected faults are crisscrossing the state. These cracks could prove that pressure builds in ways scientists didn't fully understand before. NASA's monitoring tools have shown slight but significant changes in ground elevation and movement, indicating that the Earth is preparing for something big. This discovery has raised concerns not just in California but globally, because if the Earth is cracking at this scale, what could it mean for the future of seismic activity? Experts are trying to analyze the data. Still, one thing is clear: this development can't be ignored. Now, the big question is whether the San Andreas Fault is about to unleash its fury. What do you think about this? Let's find out. The science of Earth's moves. Whether the San Andreas Fault is about to unleash its fury has been on the minds of scientists and Californians alike for decades. Remember, we said, the San Andreas Fault is a geological giant that stretches over 800 miles through California. It has the potential to cause a catastrophic earthquake when it finally moves. But here's the terrifying truth. It's already moving, but not in a way most people would expect. The fault comprises two main sections: the locked and creeping sections. The locked section, which spans large parts of the fault, is where the most danger lies. Here, the two tectonic plates are stuck beneath the Pacific Ocean and the other beneath North America. They are moving slowly, but they aren't able to slip past each other easily. This creates immense pressure and tension, which has been building up for decades. On the other hand, the creeping section is constantly shifting, though much more slowly. This section allows the plates to slide past each other without causing much damage, but the pressure in the locked section? It's growing, and it's only a matter of time before that tension is released in a massive earthquake. Now, you may be wondering how scientists know this. NASA's technology allows scientists to study these cracks and understand the Earth's movements like never before. They have incredibly advanced tools that will enable them to study the Earth's movements in real time. One such tool is seismic wave attenuation. Seismic waves are the ripples that spread through the Earth when an earthquake occurs. Seismic wave attenuation works by observing how these waves lose energy as they travel through different layers of the Earth. If there's a lot of stress in a certain area, the seismic waves will travel slower and lose more energy. This is a clue that the ground is under pressure, and a big shift may be coming. Scientists can even use this data to predict where the stress is concentrated, and in turn, figure out which areas of the fault are more likely to experience a major quake. This could lead to better earthquake forecasting, stronger building codes, and more effective disaster preparedness plans. It is said that the Earth may be sending us a warning, but we have the tools to listen and act. The fault has gone through periods of activity and dormancy, and scientists are still trying to crack the code to see when that locked section will finally release all that built-up pressure. What we do know is that California is overdue for a major earthquake. The last major shakeup along the San Andreas Fault was over 150 years ago. Since then, the tension has only increased. While scientists continue to monitor the fault with advanced tools like seismic wave attenuation, they can't predict exactly when that tension will finally snap. But what if we tell you that it is not only the San Andreas Fault's fury that California and the world should be worried about? Have you heard of Parkfield? Let's see what this terrifying phenomenon is also all about. The calm before the storm near Parkfield. There is a place in California called Parkfield, which sits right on the San Andreas Fault. Parkfield is a hotspot for seismic activity, but here's the strange thing. Scientists have noticed that the fault in this area seems to rest for years. Sometimes the ground shakes, but other times it stays silent for long periods. This silence is known as a quiet period. It's easy to assume that everything is fine. Still, these quiet periods are some of the most dangerous moments. Scientists have been studying these silent moments because they could hold the key to predicting when the next big quake will strike. During these quiet times, the tectonic plates that form the fault are still locked in place, building up immense pressure. It's like a bowstring being pulled tighter and tighter, waiting for it to snap. And when it does, the result is an earthquake that can shake the very ground beneath you. We know you're wondering how scientists know exactly when this is coming. The answer is simply in the behavior of the fault. Every time the San Andreas Fault experiences a quiet period, it's followed by a release of pressure, sometimes in the form of a small tremor or a giant earthquake. These quiet periods aren't just random pauses. They are part of a natural rhythm that scientists are beginning to understand better. But the real challenge is predicting exactly when that pressure will finally snap. Will it happen in a year, a decade, or sooner than anyone expects? It's easy to ignore the quiet periods and assume they're harmless, but they are a sign of a ticking time bomb. The tension building along the fault isn't a simple, predictable event. It's an ongoing process beneath the surface, hidden from our view. During these quiet periods, the plates on either side of the fault slowly slide against each other. As they do, stress accumulates. Eventually, that stress becomes so great that the plates can't hold it any longer, and they slip, causing an earthquake. Interestingly, these quiet periods actually have a pattern. In fact, they're one of the most important clues scientists use to predict future earthquakes. The longer the silent period, the more stress builds up. That's why experts are constantly studying how these periods play out to predict the timing and magnitude of the next quake. And although we still can't predict the exact moment, the evidence is clear. The next big earthquake could be closer than we think. But while we can't predict exactly when earthquakes will happen, scientists are making great strides in trying to understand them better. And in the case of NASA, they've taken technology to a whole new level. These satellites are equipped with specialized tools that map out the movements of the Earth's crust in real time. By studying these shifts, NASA scientists can better understand where stress is building and how it might affect the surrounding area. These advanced sensors can sometimes detect small shifts in the Earth's crust long before they lead to a major quake. Though NASA's satellites can't stop earthquakes, they are helping us better understand them. They provide valuable data that allows scientists to pinpoint areas where stress is concentrated. By studying how the fault behaves over time, scientists are starting to understand the patterns that lead to larger quakes. This information is critical because it could give us more time to prepare before disaster strikes. But here's the scary part. Despite all the technological advances, scientists still can't predict exactly when it will happen. They can only tell us that it's coming, and that uncertainty leaves Californians and the rest of the world wondering if we are actually ready for what's coming, because earthquakes are complicated and unpredictable. And while NASA's tech is very helpful, it's not a crystal ball that can tell us exactly when the next quake will happen. For years, experts have warned that California is overdue for the big one, a massive earthquake that could devastate the region. The San Andreas Fault is long past the point where it typically releases its pressure, and scientists are starting to worry that the longer the fault stays quiet, the more dangerous it becomes. In fact, many experts believe that we're already in a high-risk period. The tension that's been building could soon be released in a catastrophic quake that will shake California to its core. Don't forget the last major earthquake occurred in 1857, meaning we are now well overdue for another. This isn't just a theoretical concern. Scientists believe the fault is so stressed that the next big quake could be more devastating than any we've experienced in modern history. Sadly, while California has made great strides in earthquake preparedness, the truth is that many buildings still need to be built to withstand the force of a major earthquake. Roads, bridges, and entire communities are at risk if the big quake strikes. But there's hope. Remember, we said, by studying the quiet periods, using advanced technology to measure stress buildup, and improving building codes and emergency plans, we are making progress in preparing for the inevitable. Scientists are now working round the clock to understand the patterns and to make us safer. But ultimately, the Earth will do what it does. What do you think about this discovery? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Also, click the next video on your screen to enjoy more exciting content.